Myth 1. Aliens don't exist. In October 2017, a telescope in Hawaii picked up something moving through our solar system that didn't belong there. It was cigar-shaped, about 400 meters long, and moving faster than anything natural should. At first, astronomers called it a comet, but it had no tail. Then, they called it an asteroid. But it was accelerating as it moved away from the sun, which asteroids don't do. No known natural explanation fit it. Avi Loeb, the chair of Harvard's astronomy department, published a paper arguing that the most accurate explanation was that it was a light sail, a piece of technology from another civilization. The scientific community hated this. Ohio State astrophysicist Paul Sutter said the paper insulted honest scientific inquiry. Other astronomers called it sensationalism. Loeb didn't back down. He said the ridicule came from scientists who were more afraid of being wrong than interested in being right. Oumuamua passed through our solar system in a matter of months. We didn't have a spacecraft fast enough to chase it. It is now somewhere between us and the next star, and we will never get another look at it. The myth isn't that it was definitely alien. The myth is that we definitely know it wasn't. Myth 2. The sun is yellow. The sun is not yellow. It is white. A perfect, blinding, brilliant white that contains every wavelength of visible light in equal proportion. The reason it appears yellow from Earth is that our atmosphere scatters blue light more than red. The same effect that makes the sky blue. The more atmosphere the sunlight passes through, the warmer it shifts. Near the horizon at sunset, it goes orange and red. In space, with no atmosphere to filter it, astronauts who look toward it see pure white. Every drawing of a yellow sun in every classroom, every weather app icon, every children's book crayon circle, technically wrong. The sky is blue and the sun looks yellow for exactly the same reason, happening simultaneously, and almost nobody makes that connection. Myth 3. You can see the Great Wall of China from space. In 2003, China sent its first astronaut into orbit. Yang Liwei circled Earth 14 times. Reporters asked him if he could see the Great Wall from space. He said no. He looked. He couldn't find it. The problem is simple math. The Great Wall is long, but it is only about 15 to 30 feet wide. From the altitude of the International Space Station, trying to spot it is like standing in New York and trying to see a single human hair lying on the ground in Los Angeles. Astronaut after astronaut has confirmed the same thing. Chris Hadfield spent 5 months on the ISS and tweeted directly. He could not see it. The myth started in 1932 when a Ripley's Believe It or Not column printed it as fact without any evidence. No one had been to space. No one could check. It just sounded impressive enough that people repeated it for 70 years without questioning it. The Great Wall is an extraordinary human achievement, and the first person to definitively prove that was the Chinese astronaut who wanted most to see it. Myth 4. Scientists found a civilization on Mars. In 1877, Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli looked at Mars through his telescope and saw what he called canali. In Italian, canali means channels, natural formations like riverbeds. When the word was translated into English, it came out as canals. Canals are man-made. Percival Lowell, a wealthy Harvard-educated astronomer from Boston, read that translation and never recovered from it. He spent his entire personal fortune building an observatory on a hill in Flagstaff, Arizona, specifically to study the Martian Canal network. He published 3 books mapping the canals in detail, naming geography, calculating the engineering scale of what he believed was an irrigation system built by a dying Martian civilization, moving water from the poles to the equatorial cities. In 1965, the Mariner 4 spacecraft flew past Mars and photographed its surface up close for the first time. No canals, not a trace. What Lowell had spent 15 years mapping was his own brain connecting unrelated surface features into patterns that confirmed what he already believed. The observatory still stands in Flagstaff. Myth 5. The moon doesn't rotate. You've never seen the far side of the moon, and the reason is strange enough that astronomers still find it unsettling. The common explanation is that the moon doesn't rotate. That's wrong. It rotates once every 27 days, exactly the same time it takes to orbit Earth. So from our perspective, the same face is always pointing toward us. This is called tidal locking, and it happens when a moon orbits close enough that the gravitational pull from its planet gradually slows its rotation until the two sync up perfectly. The unsettling part is how perfect the sync is. The odds of a moon's rotation period matching its orbital period exactly enough to lock one face toward its planet forever are low enough that when scientists model how common tidal locking should be, the math works out. Some researchers think it happened faster than it should have. There are papers that don't fully explain why the synchronization is as clean as it is. We look at the same face of the moon every night of our lives, and the reason why is a question that isn't quite as settled as the textbooks make it sound. Myth 6. Space is completely silent. NASA recorded a black hole. In 2022, they pointed instruments at the Perseus galaxy cluster. 250 million light-years away and captured actual sound waves moving through the plasma surrounding a supermassive black hole at its center. The sound was real, just 57 octaves below middle C, far too low for a human ear to detect. So they shifted it up 57 octaves and released the audio publicly. NASA described it as haunting. That is an understatement. Space is not silent. The myth that it is comes from the fact that most of space is vacuum, and vacuum carries no sound. But most is not all. Wherever there is dense enough gas or plasma, sound travels. Black holes are surrounded by both. The universe has been making noise for 13 billion years. We just needed the right equipment to finally hear it. Myth 7. Aliens Don't Exist Part 2. In 1977, a radio telescope at Ohio State University picked up a signal. It lasted 72 seconds. It arrived on a frequency just above the natural emission of hydrogen atoms, which is the exact frequency SETI researchers had predicted alien civilizations would choose to broadcast on, because hydrogen is the most common element in the universe, and any advanced species would know to use it as a reference point. It was 30 times more intense than the background noise. The volunteer astronomer reviewing the data the next morning saw it on the printout, circled it in red ink, and wrote one word in the margin: wow. They have been trying to detect it again ever since. Telescopes more powerful than the one that caught it originally have scanned the same region of sky for decades. The signal has never repeated. Nobody has ever explained it. The paper's own author said it doesn't solve the mystery. It came once, lasted 72 seconds, and left. That's all we have. Myth 8. There is no gravity on space. Every astronaut who has ever been interviewed eventually has to explain this one. Astronauts on the International Space Station are not floating because there's no gravity. At 400 kilometers above Earth's surface, gravity is about 90% as strong as it is on the ground. The planet is pulling on them nearly as hard as it's pulling on you right now. What they're actually doing is falling. The ISS is moving sideways at 28,000 kilometers per hour. The astronauts inside fall at the same speed as the station, so relative to each other they appear weightless. 6 months in that free fall, and astronauts lose up to 20% of their bone density. Scott Kelly spent a year on the ISS. When he came back, the soles of his feet had grown soft and sensitive like a newborn baby's because they hadn't touched anything in 12 months.